Again, this is Arnold Alston. I'm a certified coach out of New Jersey in the USA. Tonight, I'm going to be discussing with you the importance of knowing the difference between if you're in a healthy relationship or in a toxic relationship. Today, I'm going to be going over, the signs of a toxic relationship versus a healthy relationship. And this topic came about as I was on watching a live yesterday. And as I was watching it, the host of the live asked the question to his co-host, and the question that was asked was, what do you look, or what is a healthy relationship? What does a healthy relationship look like? And so in my mind, the thought process or the thought came just the opposite. What does an unhealthy relationship look like? Because sometimes in order to understand what you want, part of it is understanding what you don't want, knowing what you don't want. And, uh, and so, um, and so with that being said, when I started looking at this topic, I started thinking about in terms of what does a healthy relationship look like? A healthy relationship. Thank you, Jay Coleman. A healthy relationship looks like, oh, excuse me. Y'all got me a little bit distracted. I appreciate y'all being in here tonight. But yeah, I'm just going to talk to you about the difference between, healthy relationships versus unhealthy relationships. And part of what happens is, or part of what happens many times is we could be in unhealthy relationships and not even realize that the relationship that we're in is unhealthy. Give you a prime example. A story that came to mind before I got on here was, I can remember being out at a business meeting. In the process of being out at that meeting, there was a gentleman that I knew that was a local business owner. He had a pretty successful business, and his wife at this particular meeting, she was being very flirtatious with this young man that was at this meeting. Um, I could see it. I was standing right there. I heard the conversation. I saw his facial expression. I saw how he looked. I saw the how he was kind of dejected, but also hurt, and kind of felt that, the whole disrespect thing and all of the pieces that, or all of the pieces that are part of that. And so I saw how he felt within that moment. And I know that later on, of course, there was a conversation that took place in the car ride on the way home, or, in the process of them leaving and going somewhere else, because most people, unless it is a severely toxic relationship, aren't going to have a blowout in front of other people. They'll at least wait until they're on their way home, and as they're in the car, and they'll start, having the conversation. But part of how you can identify if you're in a toxic relationship is that if you bring up a position on a certain thing to the person that's supposedly that you love, and then the process of you bringing up what they did that you felt was a violation, or something that hurt you, or something that was disrespectful to you, or something that was bringing damage and, wasn't showing a positive light to the relationship. If the same thing that you did, you come to them and bring them as a topic, they take that topic and they turn it around on you, which most people call gaslighting. Then that's how you know that you're in a toxic relationship, because that person, what they're going to try to do in the process of gaslighting you, they're going to try to shift your mindset to think that what you just saw was not true. You did not just see them being flirtatious with another person. So they'll say things like, "Oh, you're jealous. You're not secure in who you are as a man or a woman. I would never cheat on you." They'll say all these things to kind of get you to the point where you're not. Yeah. Yeah, and see, that's the thing, Jay Coleman, is that when we're in these situations, and this is why I'm teaching this lesson today, because I feel like it's important for people to understand that a lot of times when you're in these situations, you don't realize that you're in an unhealthy relationship. You think that you're just trying to be a person that's a excuse me. Excuse me. You think that you're just trying to be a person that's trying to keep your relationship together, to maintain it, um, to have some type of semblance of some type of longevity. And so what happens thank you. And so what happens sometimes is, because of your mindset and maybe the background that you came from and your experience, and you not being a quitter, you wanting to see this thing to the end, and you're wanting to work through this whole situation and figure it out. What happens with a lot of people is that you make allowances for their behavior. So this is why I'm talking about toxicity, because part of the toxicity isn't just them and what they're doing. I had to look at myself and say part of the toxicity was me allowing certain things When we allow certain things that are hurtful to us, we are valuing that individual and setting them at a greater state than who we are. We're putting more importance on them than on us. If you're suffering so that someone else could feel better, then we're not putting a high value on ourselves. This life is about us living our lives for ourselves. Of course, you're supposed to be kind and loving to other people, but part of doing that is you still have to consider yourself. If you're not considering yourself, then at some point we got to look at, where are we on the self-love thing? Are we truly a person that has enough love for ourselves to consider ourselves and how we feel? Because the person is showing you, if they're doing that type of behavior, that they really don't have the capacity to care about how things are going to affect you. It's how it's going to affect them. This is why they have to paint the picture. This is why they lie. This is why they deceive. Because part of this whole process is they have to keep the story going of how great of a person they are. I'm just friendly. I'm just kind. I'm just this. They'll make excuses for the behavior instead of ever coming to a place of saying, you know what? I'm wrong. If a person loves you, this is one point that I would share with anybody on here. If a person truly has love for you, if you come to them and bring to them something that you're saying is hurtful to me, hurtful to you, they're going to say, you know what? I apologize. I was wrong. I didn't see it that way. They're going to say statements like that. They're not going to come from a place of accusing you of something and blaming it on you that they did whatever they did. And so I don't know how the conversation went with that couple, with that particular couple. I mean, they're still together, but to me, when I think back now, that's an unhealthy relationship, because if she's flirting to me in front of him, then what's she going to do when he's not there? Because a line has been drawn in the sand, an invisible line has been drawn in the sand. And if a person's going to disrespect you to your face, what do you think they're going to do when you're not there? Yeah, I wish I would have learned it 20 years ago too, J. Coleman, because certain things that people do, they show you that they have this callousness. When a person isn't able to understand your feelings and what you think and what you feel, the question that you have to ask yourself is this a person that really loves me? Is this a person that truly that is being genuine towards me? Those are the questions I would have you ask yourself. Different ways that manipulation is used. I'm gonna go over a few right now today. But before I get to that, a basic definition would be toxic behavior, or the word toxicity. Basically, it describes something or a substance, a behavior, an environment that is harmful, corrosive, or severely detrimental to one's physical, mental, or emotional well-being. The part of how it's corrosive and it's detrimental is because the behavior that's being displayed isn't something that's done one time. This is part of the problem. It becomes toxic when it's continually done over and over and over again, and then it's allowed. When there isn't any kind of boundary to say, okay, stop, don't do that anymore. If you do that anymore, this is going to be the consequence. There has to be a line drawn in the sand, and something where we're going to put up a boundary and say, okay, enough with the disrespect. Okay. So it's repeated patterns of disrespect, whether it's manipulation, whether it's gaslighting. Manipulation just represents that they're trying to get you to do something because it's what they want, regardless of how you feel. And so this is why if you're in a relationship and people are withholding intimacy from you, that's a form of manipulation. A lot of guys that I know that are married, and I can only speak from a male perspective, they talk about, before I met her, and, when we first met, and, we were very active and we did this, that, and the other. I ended up making a commitment to her and I ended up marrying her. And then what I find out later is that, she only does it when she wants to. So they feel resentment towards that, because part of him is saying, you know what, I'm faithful to this person. I love this person. I've made a commitment to this person or this individual. And in the process of doing all this, what was the benefit of me doing all this? I'm faithful and committed to a person that doesn't even show me the love and respect back that's required or that I need. And so therefore it builds resentment within the relationship. Resentment is built over things that are done over a period of time where you're not considering the other person. If you're in a situation where people are not considering you, that's not a healthy relationship. That's an unhealthy relationship. Because part of being a relationship, it represents that you are no longer on your own, or it's no longer all about you. It's about you and someone else. If you've joined with another person, it's about both of you. It's about considering both of you. That's why I don't believe in the whole theory of happy wife, happy life. I don't believe in that theory. I believe in happy husband, happy wife, happy family. Because it's two people that are joining together as one. It's not one person and everything. If everything has to go to one person's way, or one person's decision, and what one person wants, and what one person thinks, and what one person feels, then that's unhealthy. That's not balanced. Part of a healthy relationship is there has to be some form of balance where I'm considering you. I'm doing things to help you. I'm not just coming home after a long day of work and I'm letting you cook and do all this stuff and I'm not helping you. It has to be mutual, mano y mano. Me helping you, you helping me. Me doing for you doing for me. Me considering you considering me. Me thinking in terms of the behavior and things that I do. How is it going to affect you? Is it going to affect you in a negative way? Or is it going to affect you in a positive way? That's part of the process. So repeated patterns. Are you seeing repeated patterns? Have you come to your person and have you told them certain things which you have said, which you have clearly described as disrespectful? Are they very flirtatious out in public? Are they overly friendly? You know, are they doing behavior that when you do the same thing that they have a problem with it, but they don't have a problem with it when they do it? This is the type of stuff I'm talking about. Are they the type of person that you can't bring anything to their attention? You cannot bring anything to their attention about something that they're doing that is not bringing more cohesiveness to the relationship. If you can't bring something to their attention about what they're doing, what isn't bringing more cohesiveness to the relationship, then what's happening is it's tearing the relationship apart. So the question is, are we trying to build something, or are we trying to destroy something? Because toxicity is going to destroy it. So when you see the different examples like online where some young lady is scratching, I saw this one young lady. She's her ex-boyfriend they had broken up. It was just like a teen couple or something, and they had I guess gone their separate ways, and she was mad because he had met another girl and was dating her, and so on and so forth. And so she gets mad. And so what she does is she keys his new car, and she's out there and she's breaking the windows and she's doing all this crazy stuff. And people are kind of laughing and they're cheering her on, and they're taking video of it and all this different stuff. And then the second video after that video, because he never said nothing, he just stood there and he watched her. And he was sitting there and he was watching her, and he didn't really say anything, but you could see the hurt in his face. But then after all of this was done, then you see another video where the cops come to this girl's door and they're arresting her, and their family's all upset. Oh, why are you arresting her? Because of what she did. She broke the law. She's damaging somebody else's property based upon, what? Toxicity. That's what. Based upon toxicity. If someone goes a separate way from you, if they break up with you, if they decide that this is no longer working for them, that doesn't give us a right, or anyone a right to go after them or try to harm them. Or that shows the level of toxicity that individual is in. And so, long story short, she ended up getting arrested behind destroying this young man's car. And see, he didn't get upset. He didn't snatch off the car and do anything violent or anything. But that's part of how toxicity works. If you're in a relationship and someone is threatening you with violence, or there is violence in that relationship, it's toxic. If someone has the mindset of keying your vehicle, it's toxic. If someone has the mindset that every time you turn around, they're second guessing you and wondering if you're cheating, and they're always accusing you of things, it's toxic. If you're trying to have an adult, mature conversation with a person, and you can't have that adult, mature conversation with them because every time you turn around as you're trying to talk to them, they shut down. They don't want to talk about it. It's toxic. And so at some point, we have to understand that their behavior is the reason why you feel the way you feel in your body, why you feel that hurt, why you feel that disappointment, because you're allowing the pain, you're taking in the pain of accepting something that in your body that you should not be taking in. There's a thing called muscle testing. In this technique called muscle testing, what they do is they grab something. It could be vitamins, it could be an apple, it could be um, arsenic, something chemical that's not good for you, and do this muscle testing. What they do is they'll have you put out your strongest arm, which would be for most people would be their right arm, and in the process of you holding on to that whatever that is against your body, the other person with two arms would try to push your arm down. If they were able to push your arm down, that means that you're strong in that. So what happens if something that's not good for you, your body will automatically, regardless of how strong you are, that arm will automatically go down through that muscle testing technique that they use, because our bodies naturally know what is good for us and what isn't. It's real simple. Even in our emotional state and in the emotional part of our lives, it knows what is good, what is healthy. A healthy relationship isn't to one where you have to constantly be walking on eggshells and monitor every word you say, because this person is gonna make something small into something massive based upon something that you said. A person that truly loves you and has a level of maturity is not going to take the time to belittle you and try to harm you verbally based upon every little thing that you say, because they understand that they are not perfect themselves. They understand that they have flaws just like you do. They understand that they're trying to figure this thing called life out just like you are. So because of that, there's a level of grace, a level of mercy that you have for the other individual. Because you're not perfect. You snore maybe just like, they might complain about you snoring, but they snore just like probably you do certain nights. So I mean, it's this whole thing of understanding that none of us are perfect. That if you're in a relationship, you have to find someone that's willing to deal with, your flaws, those little flaws, without it being the type of thing where they're constantly nitpicking every single thing you do. There's no gratitude for anything that you do. It's just always complaints, just constant complaints and nitpicking. And what that's doing over a period of time, if you're in one of those relationships, is that is eating away at your self-image and your belief in who you are as a person, because of who they are, because they don't believe in who they are as a person, and because they don't see the value of themselves. And because they don't see the value of themselves, they're going to destroy you in the process. Some of the things that I jotted down 12 things. I'm gonna go over some things real quick. Some things to help you know that you're in a toxic relationship. Um, if you have to, number one, if you're continually bringing up things over and over again to this person, as far as you tell them all the time, you're too friendly with other men. You're too friendly with other women. Whenever you go out into like meetings and certain places in public, the way that you were in that person's face and the things that you were doing and the flirtate, that stuff is inappropriate. If you have to bring that up over and over again, you're in a toxic relationship with a person that is, and especially if you've brought it up and again, and they have not addressed it to fix it, that means that it's not that important to them. I don't like to hurt. No, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or be a bearer of bad news. But if you've brought up something again and again to a person that says they love you, and they haven't done anything to solve the issue or to try to work on it, then it's not really that important to them. Second thing, do they disrespect you and blame you? Do they do disrespectful behavior and then blame you for the behavior? That's a question that we have to ask ourselves and be honest. Third thing is, do you put up with disrespect and after it happens, do you make allowances for it? I used to make excuses for certain things that happen. I used to use religion as the reason, because I would say, oh, well, you have to love husbands, you have to love your wives, and you have to do this and so on and so forth, and X, Y, and Z. Instead of understanding that in the process of me using those verses, to as a form of allowing this person to continue to do what they're doing, I was disrespecting myself. I was not showing love for myself. One of the biggest things that has to happen in your healing process is, learning to love yourself again, learning to understand what true love is. Because true love is not someone being disrespectful. Again, number 4 would be, do they use sex as a weapon? Do they give you highs and lows of it. You get a whole bunch, then you get nothing. It's all based upon some type of criteria of something that you do. Whether you do something that they want you to do, then you can be intimate with them. But they still expect you to be faithful to them. They can do what they want. They can say what they want. They can act any way they want. But you better not do the same thing that they're doing. Because then they would consider it you're disrespectful. So it shows that they understand that what they're doing is wrong. They've shown you that what they're doing is wrong and they know it. It shouldn't take getting to the point. And I'm talking about this because, again, I saw a couple on live yesterday. And then also I ended up seeing another video after that. I was just flicking through Instagram, getting ready to post something. And I saw the most toxic display of a relationship online. And I'm not saying that as a form of judgment. I'm saying it as a form of just the callousness of where society is in general. I saw this older couple, and I guess the guy felt like or found out his wife was cheating. So what he did was he went to attack her, and someone sat there and they filmed this. This is the part that I thought was kind of ironic. Someone sat there and they filmed this. He went to attack her, but he grabbed like this flat board, and he hit her. I mean, actually on video, you see him hitting her. In the process of him hitting her, she blocked it, and then she starts boom, boom, fighting this dude, her husband or whatever, on this freaking video. Toxic. The part that kind of blew me away is I'm thinking someone took the time to sit there and video this, and not only video it, they posted it up online and didn't see any problem with that. This is where we are. This is where society is. Certain things used to be the type of thing that should be there should be a certain shame about certain things, which now sometimes in society it's not there. It's not the same. I appreciate the likes. Appreciate y'all being in here. Fifth thing is, do they act like I said before? Yeah, people are nuts. Do they act like it's okay for them to do certain things, but if you do the same thing, that it's not? That's a big one. Because people that are and I don't like to classify people like narcissists. I don't like I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, so I don't like classifying people. Of course, you can look up what are the behaviors and see if that person falls in those categories. And sometimes they do, but then there's other extenuating things. And so sometimes they don't. So I don't classify. Plus, I don't need the validation of classifying someone as a narcissist or this. This is why I'm sticking with, is the relationship toxic or is it a healthy one? If it's toxic, then you have the violence, you have the verbal abuse, the cussing each other out, not able to conversate and discuss things and get resolutions. All of these things, the king, the car, and the lying and the manipulation. And the manipulation is always because there's something that they want or something that they're trying to achieve, and they're not really considering you. It's all about them and about what they want. This is all stuff that they'll let you know if what you're in is something that's toxic or if it's something that's good. The toxicity again part comes in because of the extended time frame. How long have you been in this thing? How long have you endured this person cheating? How long have you known that they've cheated and you still stayed with them? How long have you endured them being verbally abusive? How long and see what happens is it starts deteriorating and harming you. It harms your body. This is why after finding out about betrayals, there's so many there's different things that happen. And one of them is, they say PTSD is one of the byproducts of finding out about betrayals in a relationship. Post-traumatic stress disorder. There's traumatic stress disorders that happen based upon your nervous system no longer being regulated because of all of the ups and downs, because of the ups and downs of that person and their personality and their chaotic ways, all of their confusion and arguments and all of the stuff. And so I just got on here today just to share with y'all a couple different things. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for joining in. Thank you, Jay Coleman. Thank you, Renee. I'm not sure if you're still in here, Renee, but I appreciate y'all being in here. Thank each and every one of y'all for tapping. Y'all have any questions or anything y'all want to discuss while we're in here? I mean, I'll answer some questions. And it's like I told you, Jay Coleman. I mean, I'm going to do some lives. So that's why I suggested to you that you just kind of get in here because, even if you're not in a position to get the coaching now, I'm going to give away certain information. I'm going to share with you certain things of how you can keep yourself or how you can get yourself past where you are. One of the things that I would have done if you were part of the coaching program is I put together, excuse me, a 30-day comprehensive plan. Yeah. Yeah. Part of what I'm doing now is I'm putting together a 30-day comprehensive plan, a day by day plan for people of things that they need to do daily so that they can, accelerate their healing. Because if I get you to do it for 30 days, then you can turn around and do it for 60, then you can do it for 90, 120, so on and so forth. But it's a process of getting people up to speed. And so that's part of what I'm doing. But the manipulation is a big part of all of this, y'all. And the manipulation is done through the speech. It's done through denying certain things that they know that you like and that you want. It's done through, and the manipulation. And the thing that I say about manipulation is there's a level of manipulation in pretty much all of us, especially if you're in sales and there's a level of, but I'm talking about manipulation where the manipulation is bringing hardship and hurt to that other person. I'm not talking about something like I say it all the time. Like when my kids were little, I'd say, go to bed, and I'll give you such and such. To me, that's manipulation because I'm putting a stipulation on what I'm telling them instead of just saying, yo, get your tail in there and go to bed. So there's manipulation where that's where the intent isn't something where you're trying to destroy the person, but then there's some where that person has an agenda which doesn't have any positive effect in the long run. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all for joining in. Yeah, I appreciate you buying the book too, Jay Coleman. I thank y'all for being here. Good to see you, Renee, too. Renee, if you're still in here, tap the screen. Let me know. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get away from TikTok because it's just every video seems like every time you turn around something's banned or something is it's just I've been having so many challenges with TikTok. And which I was curious about what would happen once everything flipped over and it's the new ownership. Oh, okay, appreciate that. Yeah, I believe it's going to be something that you enjoy. Most people that read it, they say that they get really emotional based upon reading it, and because it's just a story of betrayal. It's a story of hardship. It's a story of about 6 years of not listening to my intuition and going through struggle based upon not listening. Because a lot of the suffering, and this is what I'll tell anyone that's on here, a lot of the suffering that we go through is because of the connections that we're in. The person that you're dating, the person that you're married to, X, Y, and Z, so on and so forth. And it's not just because of the person, but it's because of the time frame and the amount of time that we stay with these people. There's times, one of the lessons that I needed to learn was when to cut the cord. This is why it took me, like I say, almost 7 years to learn how to cut the cord, to say, okay, I'm done. This enough. I'm done. And because I had all these insinuating thought processes in my mind concerning what I believed religiously and, wanting to be a good father and wanting to do this and all these other things, those things affected my decision because I didn't want to let other people down, which really didn't really matter what other people thought. I was in an unhealthy situation and I needed to come out of it because you can't fulfill who you are as a person if you're staying in this toxic sewage of a relationship. That's why sometimes if a person don't want you anymore, that's one of the best things that could happen, because then what it does is it gives you freedom. It gives you a license to kind of go be where you need to be and do what you need to do. And with that being said, if y'all don't have any questions, I appreciate each and every one of you for being in here. Like, subscribe, and share this video. And another thing is, yeah, that's where I'm at, Jay Coleman. Yeah, I don't believe that God wants us in relationships that's going to harm us or hurt us. He wants us to be, his children, and to live life and live it to the fullest. But I appreciate y'all being in here. Thank you, each and every one of y'all for joining in. Like I always say, I believe in you, but you gotta believe in yourself. Thanks a lot. Again, I'll be on here pretty consistently. I don't know how many times a week, but when I get certain lessons and certain things come up, like I'm gonna go over part 2 of this maybe like later on in the week. Like I went over 5 today, and I'll go over the next 5 maybe like let's say Wednesday or Thursday. And so appreciate y'all joining in. Thank y'all for liking the live. Thank y'all for the shares. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for each and every one of you for your time. Thank y'all. Have a great day.